$6 billion in grants for small businesses is being proposed by the Congress. I'm going to be getting into what are the details, who can qualify for them, and also how to get 10 billion worth of grants, how to do a quick search on that to get in, to find in the organizations where to get started and move forward, as well as EIDL updates, PPP, employee retention tax credit, and getting business funding up to 10 million incredibly fast, low doc, medium, and high doc, all in this video. So you'll want to stick with me until the very end so you get all of the juicy details and you do not miss one beat of this, and you're not questioning after you're done saying, what was it that I missed? So I'm not going to waste any more time, no further introduction. I have a document that I here put together from a few resources, and this stuff isn't just simply you can always find online. There may be a bit of it here and there that you can and it'll mesh in, but I've heard this from a few sources through the EIDL officers and a few things that are happening more on the back end. So this is a bill that has been introduced in the U.S. Senate for the federal government to issue another round of COVID relief to aid all the small businesses. So think about all of the COVID EIDL relief programs that have been out already. EIDL, Targeted, Advance, and Supplemental. There have been quite a few. So the funds that weren't distributed and weren't dispersed into those programs, such as more specifically the Targeted Advance grad, the Supplemental, etc., that's where they're pulling those funds from, and they're putting them in to this pocket to see if it can get passed. So at this time, it hasn't been, but as it does and it moves and it progresses, I'll keep you up to date, which you can learn everything you need to, as well as on my channel, as well as looking down below in the description. Now, let me continue forward with this, and I'll get into the comments. I appreciate you guys for joining in. And if I hadn't said this, if you're watching this on the live, please give me a hashtag live in the comments so I know the time interval, and then a hashtag replay as well. And as always, I appreciate your energy and time. I know I try to make the most of it. We're always productive as business owners, and we need to protect that at the end of the day. So I'm going to get you in and out as fast as possible. So this bill has been introduced by Ben Cardin, chair of the Senate Committee on the Small Business and Entrepreneurship, aims to provide grants for hard-hit small businesses that can then demonstrate substantial losses in 2020 and 2021 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, let me pause right there. If this sentence sounds familiar to you, here's where I'm going to go with it. Have you heard of the Employee Retention Credit Program where you can get up to $26,000 per employee? It's a refundable payroll tax credit. You look at it that way, it's kind of like a rebate. So similarly to 2020 and 2021, you will have to demonstrate substantial losses in those years, those calendar years, those quarters, etc. And so the bill was established by the Hard Hit Small Business Relief Fund, which would transfer the remaining funds from the U.S. Small Business Administration, which is the SBA for short, the COVID-19 EIDL or relief programs such as the targeted supplemental grants, the 10Ks that we had, and how a lot of people were not able to receive those, and there were a lot of problems happening. So this bill is planned to make grants amounting to $6 billion available to all small businesses. The Hard Hit Small Business Relief Fund authorizes the SBA to define the eligibility of businesses that are sole proprietors, sole proprietorships here. Now, this is where we're going to get into this. Independent contractors, we're talking like 1099s, self-employed individuals, and tribally owned small businesses. This bill also requires that the SBA to track and report all grants publicly and establish an auditing process to ensure that this program is administered transparently. So unlike other ones out there, which is not EIDL related or SBA completely, but we're talking PPP where there was a lot of fraudulent activity. Until this day, I have a lot of people and I see a lot of people who unfortunately just went to apply and figured out a way they would receive their funds. They didn't use it appropriately, and now they're getting in a lot of trouble. And I won't talk about that in this video, but just be careful on that. And on that subject, PPP forgiveness, if you haven't taken care of that, that's what you'll want to do. And if you need help on that, I created a separate video. I'll try to link you to down below in the description. So really, American small businesses, we are still struggling, and myself included. I'm not going to leave myself out and say I'm better than anyone, because I have my dips and I have my highs. And while I ride those highs consistently nowadays, we also come down here and then we try to pivot and then it ends up happening again. And we end up like in this cradle that we need to get out of. And I understand the problems of getting funding, not only with grants as just startup, newly established business, but other ways of getting financing. And if you're interested as well as learning how to get again up to 10 million in other forms and understand what your best funding option and options are with a personalized and customized experience from a trusted business loan broker slash agent who's helped out businesses of all backgrounds and all types get funding ultimately the best way possible. I will leave for you a questionnaire down below. You can simply fill out in less than 30 seconds, and then I will evaluate it, analyze it, and give you a proper response back. So some of the reasons that a lot of small businesses have been getting hit hard, we can get into that, but what is stopping them and what they need to recover on are subjects such as unsustainable debt. And that's like priority number one for a lot of business owners right now that I speak to. They've incurred a lot of business debt. They're trying to consolidate loans if they have other ones like cash advances, business loans, and other forms, other business expenses, payroll, etc. And here's a much huger one, and one that I'm seeing a lot with logistics, manufacturing, and a lot of different companies is ongoing supply chain delays. And that's a similar criteria when you're trying to get the employee retention credit is if you're having a supply chain issue, that's only one part of having distress and being able to qualify for it. And workforce challenges that inhibit your ability to operate and grow your business or businesses. You may have multiple ones that need help. So the Hard Hit Small Business Relief Fund Act would make the approximately $6 billion in unused federal COVID-19 small business aid available to those small businesses that needed the most. And that's said by Cardin, again, just so you know. So it's a package that is in the works of hoping to be passed. And you know a track record in people getting approved for business grants or grants being released publicly. It actually has been much better than other forms of financing, especially when we're talking about other relief bills that are combined with not just the grants, but other forms. We had just most recently the Restaurant Revitalization Fund. If we're talking about 55 billion, that wasn't passed, and there was a grant section to that. And for those businesses in underserved communities that did not get passed. And so this is a kind of like another workaround on it. So that's pretty much the gist of it. Let me look and see in my document if there's any other notes that I put at the bottom here. Okay. Yeah, that would cover all of it. I just put a few numbers together just so I can have on hand for myself so I can see. But a lot of businesses have been suffering really severely, and it's become more difficult to fully operate, even if you're full operation now, because you may need to still hire on some staff. You need to buy that new piece or rent out a piece of equipment. Maybe you're price shopping and you're not trying to get one of these medium to higher rate interest loans. But at the end of the day, like I tell most business owners, is it isn't about your interest rates. It's about getting an extended amount of a term if you can qualify for it. And also, what is your repayment on that business loan slash cash advance? So that's what you need to look for. I have another document open up on screen here, and then I'll get into my share screen so I can show you a few pointers and what you can do. But just most recently, so you know, aside from the grants, and there's also the 10 billion that I came out with on how to do a quick Google search, excuse me. And you can simply go to your Google and in the search feature, type in SSBCI and next to it, your state. So State Small Business Credit Initiative is what is the extended, but you can do SSBCI for short, and then your state next to it. And then it should be the first listing. Sometimes the second one you can click to, and it should take you workaround for the first. Might want to skip ads if there are any. There shouldn't really be any there when you type in that search. And then there will be organizations you can apply to. And every state is opening up these grants. So not all of them are open yet. So as I continue to get more information, I will release it out to you. So I have another document here that I want to quickly go through and make sure that I didn't miss anything. Okay. Yes. I covered what I needed to. Now let me jump into the share screen here and I'll let you go on your way. If you guys see anybody in the comment section, I see one now saying to contact some officer, don't do it. These are scams. These are people trying to mislead you so then they can ask for your money, probably charge you for an application fee. I don't know what they're doing on their back end, but I am not associated with them whatsoever. I do apologize though if it is a little dark too because I have my light screen on this new HP that I have and I'm still trying to figure out the works of it. And I haven't had the time. But don't respond to those comments. And if there are comments after this video is published, just be careful what you read. I also see this being a huge issue on my TikTok when I have videos that are released. I'll see them in the comment section. Don't respond to those. If it's me, make sure you verify it's my profile and not some other created person and trying to replicate what I'm doing or trying to act as myself. And if I comment, just know it's truthful and it's from myself. So now let me jump into the share screen and show you how you can get a personalized and customized experience on what your best funding option and options are. And if you've already filled this out, I will get back to you very shortly so you can get the help that you need and what's possible. Now, actually, let me see that I have this screen open. Let me go here first so you guys can see this. If you guys are unaware of who I am, I'm with Viral Funding Solutions, and that is my brand. A lot of you have gone through here, and this is what it'll look like more or less. You can learn a little bit about what is Viral Funding Solutions, how does it work. You get to submit a pre-qualification. Step 2, get funding options fast. Step 3, get funded quickly. Our services, I offer a lot more, as you see there, and many more. And just a bit about myself, a background, and you can get a free 6-step pre-approval lending checklist. And there's more information there. You can go through the services if you wish. Here's the services tab. Let me show you quickly how that looks like. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this. Just again, this is familiarity. This isn't for anything else. Just so you know who you're dealing with, that you know that I am legitimate. And there will be these services in there. And now let me transition from there into the questionnaire so I can show you what that looks like so you can get in touch. This will be it, and I'll leave this form for you. It should be down below already in the description where you can get a personalized and customized email response for your best funding option and options, plus get a free 6-step pre-approval lending checklist to get you approved for funding much faster. Literally, you can fill this out in less than 30 seconds. And no, I am not a creditor. I don't use this information against you. It is very safe and secure. A lot of people have that objection, or they don't think they should put it because they're unsure about me, or they don't know 100% yet. But this does not get used against you. This is not an application. I will not charge you anything. This is for me to evaluate and analyze and see what your best funding option and options are. And I'll send you an email response back. And so it'll look like this more or less. It could change over time, but that's where you want to go to get help. And if you've already done that, great. There's no need to do so. And if you need help, all other links will be down below for you in the description, as well as startup business funding, a grant opportunity document that has been getting updated over time. And I have business funding options. But if you haven't gotten in touch with me yet, maybe you've came through me by just getting a free 6-step pre-approval lending checklist and you haven't filled out that questionnaire yet. That's what I encourage you to do first and foremost. I responded a lot to people today on email, and I'll still get to some. And I told them, they asked me, hey, I need funding and I'm trying to repair credit, but in the meantime, what can you help me with? And I will respond back by saying, hey, great. I appreciate that you're actually going and getting your credit repaired. That's awesome. That's what I would recommend you do, whether it's through me or someone else. But to help you get business funding, can you please fill out this less than 30-second questionnaire? And I will be able to see what your best funding option and options are. So that's what I do a lot of the time if you haven't seen that. And if you have, like I said, again, I'm going to get back to you. I'm going to be going to Lake Tahoe. I think we're leaving tonight. I haven't been following all the text messages. My brother, my cousins, they're all in the thread. But as you know, as a business owner, you get busy, so busy that you don't even check your texts. And you have a schedule and you have a time frame where you need to be as productive as possible. That's why I haven't been able to check those. We're getting closer to noon. It's 11:09 here, Pacific Standard Time in Vancouver, Washington. But once I get a chance to, I have to go wash clothes. And this was a last minute thing yesterday. For 4th of July, the family was together and some of the cousins were talking about it, but I was in front of them just in the moment. I wasn't trying to speak about a vacation. I wanted to focus on the kids. I wanted to focus on tonight and that. And so, come to think about it, after everybody was leaving, I found out about Lake Tahoe. So I may be there for a couple of, I don't know, a week maybe, or about, I don't know, I have to check the details out. They're getting the van and all these details, but I don't want to bore you with that. And why I say that too is because I don't know how much more video content I will be producing for you guys this week. There are a few pieces still that I will be releasing. But if you don't hear from me right away, just know that I will be on vacation. And I don't even know if it's canceled, or I believe we're still going. Again, I haven't been following the group chat, as a lot of you probably know as business owners, we get busy. Hi, Gabrielle. How are you doing? What help is there for independent contractors, drivers, self-employed? Good question. We have gig worker 1099 self-employed funding programs, one specifically above all, and it's the only one that works best in it. And this is where you can get approved between 20 to 25% of your average monthly revenue. You only have to have 3 months really, and just 3 months of doing 3,000 and above. And you qualify for up to 5,000. I know you're only limited to that, but that's what we have for 1099. And if you have a personal checking account that you use for business, that's fine. You don't have to have a business checking. If business checking, good. It's even better, what I recommend, especially as you grow. I have a lot of people right now who are doing 15 to 50,000 or so, and they could qualify for another tier of funding, but they're using their personal account. And I've reached out to them, and I will continuously do so to tell them, hey, make sure you open up a business checking account. If they don't know how, this is how you will want to go about it, offline, online, and so forth. But I'll leave that service for you down below. I'm not quite sure if it is in the description yet, but I may upload it after this is done, and I'll be done here in a couple of minutes as I'm done answering questions. Oh, yeah. What kind of help? Hopefully that answered. No new news on PPP. Just like I said earlier, in the forgiveness phase. And we're unsure about what will happen in the future. There's no clear, concise information about it. But like I said, that's why all of these funds from the EIDL, the COVID relief programs, have been getting passed into other ones like we've talked about today, with the $6 billion proposed by Congress and how it has to still be passed. But what we could be looking at, what I don't recommend though, even if you are a startup, and also more so for more established businesses, is don't just wait on a grant. A lot of business owners are price shopping. I was no different in the very beginning. I know how much you go from one program to the next trying to look for the lowest interest rates, but that isn't the problem here. If you're continuously shopping, trying to figure out, well, this guy got me 12%, how can I go get 6%? Maybe it is out there, maybe it isn't. The thing is, when you work with the best lenders, though, and you go to somebody else who says, yeah, we'll get you 10% instead of the 15%, you have to question that source and ask yourself, are they reliable? What are they charging? What are their fees? What is happening? What part of the process will I probably not like? Why should I even get started? Why are they asking for that documentation? And a lot of the times people end up finding out that there is nothing better out there. And better is in perspective to you. Think about it. What is the actual repayment? What is your term? Yes, you should shoot for a longer term nowadays with what's happening with inflation, the impending recession, right? A lot of people want to put it that way. But look at the interest rates over time, how they've been increasing. The more we get, harder it will be on us. And like I said again, don't fall into this notion of, well, the interest rates are getting higher. But is your business is it appreciating? Is it depreciating? Do you have any assets to give up so we can get you a lower interest? Unlike a car that can depreciate over time, your business has the ability to appreciate. How much revenue are you generating on an annual basis? What is your gross? What is your net? What are your profits? All of this, you have to start growing it and expanding it. It allows you to do that in your business. That way you don't get in this predicament where I'm getting what? 30% interest. I'm getting 38% on a quote unquote hard money loan, or I'm getting a merchant cash advance. But those people who get that, those people who don't even, if they even qualified for 1 to 2 years or plus, they don't take them necessarily. They come to these cash advances and they go, well, I strategically know how I will be using my funds. You have to ask yourself this question when you leave this video is, do I strategically know how I will be using my funds? If you answer no to that, sit down, go back to the drawing board and think about what these funds will be used for. Do you have an immediate use for them? Because if you take an advance, you should have an immediate use. You may not use it all at once within the first month for a certain project or projects or whatever that is, business expenses with growth and expansion. But I do know that in 2 months, I'm going to be having a contractor, or I'm going to be having a broker, or I'm going to be having a bidding on this job that I'm going to need supplies and material for, while I'm also doing this in the meantime. So you have to think about it. And a lot of people want lines of credit so you can withdraw and use those funds whenever you need to. But don't be caught up in that where, if I don't get a line of credit, then I don't want anything. What you should look at is, what is my repayment? Let me start with less and then build my way up. I didn't get the 50,000 or I got 50,000, but I don't want the repayment. I have the ability to, because we never gave you an offer that wouldn't make sense. If you can't handle it, we would never give it to you. But let's start off maybe with 25,000, half of that. If it's possible, if a lender is willing to go less, because a lot of times they won't. They may give you multiple and they'll say, no, you can't go less than that. There's nothing to be made, or there's no way we're taking that kind of a risk on this. And so if we start less, that can drop your repayment significantly. And it will keep the rates and it'll keep the terms. But what happens over time is when you build the relationship with the lender, with the broker, with the underwriters, the whole team that you go through with myself, with the best lenders and the best underwriters out there, bar none, who I have personal and business relationships. We speak every single day. Actually, before this, I spoke to them on email, which is a lot of our communication nowadays. But I will help you understand that when you build the relationship, you can get access to better rates, better terms, more funding. It's not necessarily that you should be price shopping. Let me go to the comments and I'll end this video here shortly. I have to move this ring. It gets dark. I apologize. You have excellent. Hi, Seth. How are you doing? You have excellent credit and in your 401k. Good. You're considering starting your own business. Can you start one to first get grants and tax benefits? Good question. Yes, you can for grants and tax benefits. There are limited programs, though, that will allow it, but they are out there. And what you need to report on your taxes. So that's one part of it. If you're going to go into it with your 401k, if you need help with that, I have an option. I won't speak about them right now and how helpful they are because they do a great job. But if that's something you're interested in getting into, as well as anybody else in here, to start up your business, getting into your 401k, if you didn't know this, is what you can do to inject money and put it into your business. So your past employers, it's like, yeah, your previous employers you work for, not your most current one, because if you're working for somebody else, there's a lot of contingencies and compliance and unrecorded information and stuff that just changes within that company over time. That is not something we can verify and we don't want to take on and more. But you can do that and it can really help jumpstart your business. Maybe you already established an LLC, an S Corp, C Corp, but you haven't completely run your business. It's not in full operation, not even in partial. And you need to do that, then you can look into your 401k. And it's basically like how interest works is you're basically paying yourself on with interest. So you're the employer under yourself, employed for yourself. I don't want to confuse you with that, but it's your business that gets the interest and you pay yourself on interest. And it's, I know it sounds a little bit confusing, but it is something that I can help you through and get you to have more of an understanding of. But that's just one way to get into a startup. We spoke about today the grants. You have the angel investors, venture capital, equity, private equity, hedge funds is another one. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself into those specific details of them, as well as all the startup, because I don't want to make it about that completely in this video. But look for all the information down below in the description. That'll wrap up this video. And again, like I said, if you need help at any moment, please refer to the description. If you have a comment, please voice it for me, but be careful about those. I don't know if you see the comments here, but I see one from somebody who's a complete scammer. Should be going away. I have no control, as well as on TikTok, I can block them, but they always end up coming back. And start with that questionnaire if you haven't submitted it yet. And what I want to leave you with completely at the end is don't price shop. Don't be the person out there. Like I have business owners today who've been also saying, I can go find this over here, go and see what happens. I can guarantee you if you found something, they're just trying to make money for themselves and they're going to charge you a lot more higher fees. Maybe they charge you application fees. Your repayment's a lot higher. It's really shorten the term so they can get you the funding. There's ABC plus top tier lenders, and you just have to be careful about who you go with. No, I'm not referring to anybody here when I say you're a scammer, and I know you don't think that, Jonas, but yeah, I know you're not one, and it shows that. You are welcome, Seth. Appreciate you for commenting. It takes courage and bravery to do that, and I'm an introvert, so it's difficult for me, even for other people's content. But that is going to, again, conclude everything. If you have not subscribed, please go ahead and do so. Click that bell notification icon so you do not miss any future content that I will be coming out with, not only on grants. I cover everything. I'm not another YouTuber who just speaks on grants or speaks on one specific subject like the EIDL loans. I have in-depth knowledge on all of these subjects, bank loans, online banks, physical banks, SBA EIDL, all SBA programs, employee retention tax credits, business loans, term loans, unsecured, secured, business lines of credit, secured, unsecured, cash advances, term loans, about all magnitudes, hybrid cash advances, personal loan startups, equipment financing. I haven't even breached the surface, and there's still a lot more. So look in the description to get started. And again, like I said, if you guys don't hear from me much on video, it's because it's likely that I will be going on vacation. If anything were to change, you know, almost regular schedule. But I will talk to you all soon. Take care. Bye.